Hello, this is Art Wake in Mind. This is like my third video, I believe. Um, so in this video, we're gonna hit the chalkboard. That's how I'm going to teach this series. Possibly, I might bring out the pencil and paper in a later video. But for right now, we can stick with the old school, just chalk and board. And I'm kind of new to I just bought this chalkboard, so my drawing skills on here might be a little bit stunted because I haven't used one of these since like elementary school. So just have a little bit of patience with that. But let's hit the board. Let's hit the drawing board here. Alright, so what I have written up here, and it might be backwards because I think it flips on the video. Sorry about the lighting again. This lighting's gotta get better as time goes on, but have patience in it. It will. But I'll read this out. It says the language of drawing, visual communication. And basically, this is the simplest way of communicating. I feel, we live in this visual world. We use our eyes most of anything, you know what I mean? To sense danger, I feel like eyes and ears are probably the most used things. But yeah, you think back to the cavemen, you know what I mean? They drew on walls, you know what I mean? That was their way of communicating. And it was my early form of communication as a child, and as many children, that's their first scribble with a crayon or something. It's pretty remarkable how, as literal it is, that's their easiest way of communicating, right? So really think about that. Really let that stew in your mind. That's pretty interesting, right? So the first part of the series, I want to talk about line. Then second, we'll talk about shape, and then form, and then probably light on form. And then after that, probably progress into some basic objects, and then after that progress into some anatomy. So let's get to this. I've been talking too long. And I'm wearing my pajamas because I'm just about to go to sleep, but I thought I'd shoot a video. Let me see if I can get this lighting a little bit better. Maybe I'll just okay, so what I want to talk about first is line, right? So line is the first lesson in drawing. So a line in reality does not exist. It is an invention of the artist. You know what I mean? It's a conception. There are no lines in nature, right? Everything is a fuzzy, blurred color value against another fuzzy, blurred color, and some are crisp, some are salt. Like there's just edges in reality. But that comes later in the stage. In the beginning, we need to kind of have that conceptual invention to at least start. We need to start somewhere. So I think line is it gives us boundaries. It's kind of like what keeps us from like falling off the cliff. You know what I mean? It's a nice anchor to cling on to in the early stages of learning drawing. So you got line. Now, there's not just line, right? But before I talk about that actually, so what, line does not exist in nature, but how do we form this idea of line, right? Well, basically, all it is in a simple explanation is if I had this, say, this tub, jar, whatever you want to call it, of paint against this blackboard, right? There would be the blackboard, and then there would be the edge that meets this blackboard that would form what we conceptualize as a line. So that is a line. That's where we get this idea of like that's a line, right? Everything is just a conception, and we're basically like visual like magicians in a way. We're creating an illusion of reality on a two-dimensional surface. Very important to think about that, right? Like we're creating an illusion of reality. So first we'll have, I'm gonna go through, you got the vertical line. There's a series of lines, and it's very limited. There's a lot you can do with these, but there's only a few lines you need, and that's what's so great about the visual language. It can be so simple, but like a picture says 1,000 words or whatever that saying is, right? So a line can say a lot. So what does the vertical say, right? What does that stand for? What is that character of that line, right? It's, for me, and from a lot of books I've read, it's a lot about power, stability, strength. I always think of it as a pillar, you know what I mean? Like a nice strong like pillar that holds up everything, you know? That holds the drawing upright, and it keeps it from falling over, right? Like, it's strong, it's powerful. So, you know, we can say, I would, you know, to narrow it down, it's stable, right? It's stable. It's not going anywhere. It's a pillar of strength. So that's the vertical. Then we can talk about the next line, which is the horizontal. Right? Horizontal. Now, that line for me, and what I've read and what I've gathered and through my experience, is a very calm, and it's a very neutral line for me. You know, it's not vertical, it's not a diagonal, it's in the middle. It's like this neutral ground. It's, you know what I mean? It's sturdy, it's also stable. It's not going anywhere, you know. So I like to think calm, neutral. You know, not much to say about it, just calm and neutral. I don't want to give this one too many thoughts, but if you have any thoughts on what these mean to you, everybody has a different way of remembering this stuff, and that's key. Just these silly little like reminders, like a pillar, or say the horizontal. You think of where the sky meets the sea. You know, that line of like calm, like the ocean waves or something, right? And then you'd have the sun coming down as it sets, right? So that's it for the horizontal. Next one we'll be talking about is the diagonal. Now the diagonal is a fun one. So the diagonal has two different ways it can go. It can either go down, descending, right? Or it can go up, ascending. So we can have an ascending line, which is extending upwards, right? Or a descending line, which, so, you know, when things go down, we think depression, we think deep, we think, you know, maybe introverted, like it's going down, maybe it's like a lot of learning is done in descending. You know what I mean? You're kind of like learning, so it's very uncomfortable. It can be depressing, right? In the beginning stages. And I've definitely felt that, as many of you guys probably have. So you're kind of like diving deep down in the diagonal, right? And the diagonal is also very aggressive, right? Like either way it goes, like down, it's aggressive. Or ascending up to the, that's when the growth starts happening. That's, or you can think of it as like a plane kind of, diving down, crashing, or landing, right? And then ascending, going up. So both those things are very extremes. So the diagonal is just like very fast and extreme and aggressive. So I would just like to narrow down to aggressive, right? Or possibly deranged, right? It's a very, you think of a lightning bolt. A lightning bolt has a lot of diagonals, right? So those are 3 lines that you got: the horizontal, you got the vertical, horizontal, diagonal, and then the next one we could talk about is the curve. Now the curve it's not quite a line, it's more of, I would say a combination of the horizontal, the diagonal, and the vertical all coming together to form what we know as the curve, which the curve to me symbolizes a very organic thing, right? It's closest to what nature presents. Everything in nature, nothing in nature has these straight, rigid lines. That's more of a man-made construction thing. Like tables have lines. Tables are very straight edged, right? Buildings are very straight edged. That's a man-made concept, but the curve is a mother-made concept, if that's making sense. So I think very much organic is the and as often as that's I feel like that word's thrown out so many times nowadays. But or we could go natural, if you want to say that. So that's the curve. So we got the horizontal, the vertical, diagonal, and the curve. And like I was saying, the curve is more so just a combination of, say, the vertical. So you think of, right, I'll draw over here if you can see it. So you think you could start out with a vertical, then you go with the diagonal, and then you go with another diagonal, and then you do maybe another diagonal here, and all those form that curve, right? So those are your basic lines. That's a basic starting point. So I think we can end this video with all of that, and I just want that to kind of marinate in your head. And I think this is the last video today that I'm gonna upload. I'm probably gonna upload maybe Monday night possibly, or Tuesday, and I think, yeah, that next video will talk about shape and how all these things connect, but at first we have to kind of dissect them separately, and then we're going to bring them all together in the end, and then we're going to put them into practice. But this is just the first intro video, and these are just very crude drawings, they're just to explain stuff. So, and also if you'd like to, I have an Instagram account that I'm working on right now. I have a lot of my old work still up there. I'm trying to delete a lot of that stuff and put up new stuff. If you want to check out my Instagram, it's ArtWakenedMind, and it's the same name as the YouTube channel. So go check that out. Hit the subscribe button, and like and comment if you have any critiques or any comments, anything I can do better. Of course, the lighting could be better. Maybe my speaking is not as clear. Anything I can make corrections on, I'm open to changing it up and to making these videos better. My light just shifted and scared me. Sorry. But it's been a pleasure teaching you. Hope to see you again in the next video. Thank you, guys.